לראות בשמיים, בשמיים ובארץ, ובארץ. הללויה, הללויה, מקימי מעפר, מאשפות יריב אביון, להושיבי נדיבי, נדיבי עמו. הללויה, מושיבי, הללויה, הללויה,
Thank you very much. And thank you to Joyce and Sam and the CBST Community Chorus. Let's hear it for them. Amazing. You know, at my first Seder at CBST, and I'd been heavily pushed, and it was a bit of proselytizing from the rabbi, but I'm not going to say that. Like, what are you going to do on Friday night? Like, okay. Anyway, it's my first time there, and I could not believe how much you sing, and loud, and you can understand it. It's fabulous, because I was raised Catholic, and thank you, with somebody up there, and it was pre-Vatican II, and it was like a Gregorian chant, no sound at all, and the notes were all square, so it was a good time. But really, after hearing everybody tonight, really, I do think, I've always thought that Catholics are the only people I know who can sing and breathe in at the same time. So thank you all for coming out. I'm Kate Clinton, and I'm honored and proud to be your host of this evening's roast of our beloved Sharon Kleinbaum. What? Wait a minute. Oh. It isn't that. It's not, okay. It's not a roast. It's not a roast, but I'll do the best I can. And speaking of Pride, happy LGBTQ plus Pride Month. Yes? And quite frankly, I think we should celebrate Happy Existence Pride Month. But in September 1992, Rabbi Kleinbaum was installed as the first full-time rabbi here at CBST. And the place didn't fall apart. You know, like if gay people got married, it would destroy straight marriage. You're doing fine on your own. The sanctuary was packed, and the installation lasted 3 hours. And we're going to go for that record tonight, from what I've seen. And in the 34 years that CBST has been in existence, 32 years. I don't do math well. And besides, I just love the number 34. Of all the gifts that Sharon has given us, perhaps one of the most significant is the gift of music. And it could not have happened without our incredible music director, Joyce Rosenzweig. Absolutely. And I just want to assure you of something. There's been a little, misunderstanding, but I just want to clarify. Rabbi Kleinbaum is not leaving us. She's just going to take some time off, rest. Have you ever seen Sharon rest? No. And she's going to spend time with the kids, maybe, walk the dog, sweet. And really, this is the greatest thing, Sharon. You'll be able to watch Rachel Maddow live. And I see it as a time, really, for transition. It's a time for Sharon to do a transition from CBST to CDBs. It's just me. Okay. Where are you, Sharon? Stand up. Stand up. Oh, you already sat down. Really? You're so humble. Adria is playing the viola. Sounds crazy, no?
But here in our little shul, you might say every one of us is a viola player, trying to scratch out a ditty without breaking our necks. You may say it, but it wouldn't be true. You may ask, why are we here tonight doing a show for Rabbi Kleinbaum? We do it because Congregation Beit Simchat Torah is our home. What's happening at the synagogue? That I can tell you in one word. Transition! 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 Because of our good fortune, we've had a senior rabbi 32 years.
Thanks to RSK, we have programs for everything. Music, interns, kids, even adult bar mitzvah. All this while we wandered from our old home on Bethune Street to our new home on West 30th Street, all while remaining a dogged pursuer of civil rights.
You may ask, when did this all happen? I'll tell you. September 11th, 1992. It's because of Rabbi Kleinbaum that we have enlarged our tent. Our chuppah has runneth over.
Day and night must work for social justice, loves the sounds of Torah and the opportune, and who keeps our hearts full of gratitude and joy, and lovingly sings out of tune. Rabbi Kleinbaum, Rabbi Kleinbaum, RSK, Rabbi Kleinbaum, Rabbi Kleinbaum, RSK. Midway through a song, and then we'll hear her say, you must sing from your diaphragm, my babe. RSK, Rabbi Kleinbaum, Rabbi Kleinbaum. RSK, Rabbi Kleinbaum, Rabbi Kleinbaum. RSK. She lived in Israel. She worked with Saperstein, a Barnard grad she is, and a scholar of great esteem. Transition! Who day and night must work for social justice.
And in the circle of our CBST family, we've always had our special types.
For instance, Rosenzweig, the music director, Cooperberg, never forgotten, and of course, Weingarten, the wife.
And most importantly, our beloved rabbi. RSK, Rabbi Kleinbaum, Rabbi Kleinbaum, RSK.
Please welcome CBST's own Eric Rosenbaum and Lisa Kartzman.
Barbara, I'm going to kill you for making me follow that. Oi. I'm here to give you a little history lesson, very short. I'm going to start with November 11th, 2016, 3 days after Donald Trump was elected president. Yeah. How's that for a downer? If you were a Muslim living in the US, imagine what it felt like when Donald Trump campaigned on a platform saying you weren't worthy. So 3 days later, on November 11th, CBST showed up in force at the Islamic Center at NYU to be a community of support while that community was coming to noon prayers. And I can only think that this is something CBST could do because we are a community that knows what it's like to be vulnerable. So a second date, January 17th, 2018, just about 18 months later. Rabbi Kleinbaum is in one of her favorite modes of public transit, which is a police paddy wagon. And she finds herself seated next to a Haredi rabbi named Mike Moskowitz. They talk. Now you think this is the beginning of a joke, but it's not. Because out of that conversation, CBST has become a center for Jewish scholarship and pastoral care for families in the ultra-Orthodox community who could be torn apart when a member of their family comes out as queer or transgender. What an amazing thing that we are a community that can provide that kind of support. Third date. March 25th, 2018. Now this date gets its own New York Times headline. A merger for the rabbi and the labor leader. I think everybody here knows Randy Weingarten. And the word union is very often associated with Randy, but not in this particular context. So, I want to say that the two of you, Rabbi Kleinbaum and Randy, bring together Jewish scholarship, spirituality, prayer, community, and do so in service of making the world, of the very real world we live in, an incredibly better place. And it is because of this that we have created the Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum and Randy Weingarten Fund for Social Justice at CBST. Because what better way for our community to honor the legacy of the two of you and ensure that we can continue being this kind of community into the future. Thank you so very much. Lisa.
My turn.
Your turn.
We are proud to announce that we have raised more than $1.15 million for this fund from 320 donors so far. Thank you for your generous support. If you haven't given yet, there is a QR code in your program that will take you to the right place. It's not Shabbat, so there's no excuse. On behalf of everyone here, thank you to Rabbi Kleinbaum and to Randy. We are all honored by your leadership.
You having a good time? Yeah, nice. That's good. For a Monday night, you're good. You're in the right place. Longtime CBST member and violist Adrian Benjamin and Rabbi Kleinbaum had a shared enthusiasm for bringing chamber music to the CBST community. They began both the Shabbat Shirah concerts in 1996 and the Concerts for Social Justice in 2017. And Adria has a lot more in her than just like Fiddler on the Roof. She's really amazing. But every holiday season, Adria plays her own arrangement of Kol Nidra with her Concerts for Social Justice colleagues. So please welcome to the stage Sebu Serinin, Lisa Tipton, Deborah Assail McGregory. Thank you. Fasten your seatbelts. Let's hear it from them again. Come on. That is an amazing foursome, and here you are in these lovely seats, listening to that and looking out over the park. Come on, it's not bad. And the green is stunning, isn't it? So beautiful. Oh, so now you might think that, I'm kind of trying to be calm and trying to kind of throw out some cool MC vibes. Like I'm so nonchalant, like that whole thing. Like nonchalanting is my jam. But on the inside, I am as chalant as heck. I'm trying to be calm. For my next introduction, let me tell you, I have a brother named Bill. Bill Clinton. And he ran for political office in a little town outside of Philadelphia. And at the time he was running, he looked very much like George W. Bush. It was so confusing for everyone. like he'd go up and, he would talk to the people and say, I'm Bill Clinton, I'm a Democrat, and I'm running for the job. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? How can that be? And of course, being a Bill Clinton, they talked and they got together and they came to some agreement. And my brother won the office that he was running for in a very Republican place. Yeah. My brother Bill. So if I may take the liberty, or if I may take the New York liberty, yes. Please welcome my sister-in-law, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you all. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Well, now you know the true story, how Kate and I are related. Originally, that's how I thought I got invited to be here tonight. And then I heard, no, it wasn't that you're related to Kate Clinton. It's that they needed a non-Jew on the program to demonstrate how ecumenical we all are in these very interesting times. So as a Methodist, I said, okay, I'll come. But the real reason I'm here is the same reason you're here. I just love your rabbi. I love her, and I am so grateful for the leadership she has provided to CBST, but even beyond the walls of that institution, the continuing example she has set and the work she has done reaching out to so many of us. I am also deeply grateful for my long friendship with Randy, and to be able to show up at an event where Randy is the spouse. I've been on both sides of that. And it's kind of sweet. I think that having the opportunity to say a few words about Rabbi Kleinbaum is a special pleasure for me because she has, as you all know so well, created a legacy that is worthy of celebration and also as a model for so many of us. Her faith and her leadership has helped CBST become what it is today, a bold spiritual community of resistance and love. That means a lot to me because we need both right now, and she has shown us how to do that with grace, compassion, and love over all the years. And when I see her, I think so often of the exhortation, you are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. She always knew that. She always knew that the work of resistance and love, the work of reconciliation and unity, the work of tolerance and openness will never, ever be finished. But each of us has an obligation to do our part, and she understood her obligation as a leader to help guide us forward. Her career demonstrates that joy and resilience can have their roots in despair and adversity. A great deal of what has brought us together over and over is a shared conviction that the language of morality and truth does not belong to those who claim it or who work to use it to limit the rights and freedom of others. It also brings us together in the recognition that words alone are not enough. Compassionate faith must be exercised in action in order to nourish us, enable us to continue acting. As all of you know, Sharon came to CBST during the height of the AIDS crisis, a time of such despair and loss, where people were literally fighting for their lives, and we were being reminded by AIDS activists that silence equals death. She understood the crisis that we were in, and she has worked all of these years to make sure we never go back to those days where people are shunned and maligned, diminished, and to create a congregation, as she has, that would look out for people and lift them up in good times, but mostly in the bad ones. Today, CBST is the only synagogue in the city with an immigration clinic on site. And I know how important that work is because when I was Secretary of State, we revised the rules for asylum seekers to better protect those who faced persecution due to their sexuality in their home countries. And the last time I checked, CBST serves a majority of asylum seekers who are LGBTQ or HIV positive. Where else would they be served and taken in? During the pandemic, she knew that connection would be more important than ever, and designed remote services that went beyond simple Zoom squares. I'm told it really made people feel that they were still part of a community. So many people lost that during the pandemic. They lost it in their houses of worship. They lost it in their schools and their workplaces. But Sharon understood how to keep that alive during such a difficult time. Her role in shaping this congregation and this city and communities of faith is indelible. Her impact is in the 20 rabbinical students who have studied at CBST since 1994 and are carrying its tradition of action and compassion back to their own communities. In the thousands of people who attend CBST's services for High Holy Days every year, and yes, in the lives of the immigrants who have found asylum and safety, in the spiritual guidance that she offers to the ill and their loved ones, not only, but particularly during the AIDS crisis, but in all of the health crises since. In establishing that strong link between faith and progressive action. I was struck by something she said after being arrested for protesting the Trump administration's Muslim ban. She demurred any kind of praise for her actions and instead wrote, "I will use whatever voice I do have to speak in the name of my God and my tradition against the injustices being done." That statement, among many of her statements over all of the years, is such a clarion call. It's a clarion call rooted in faith and tradition and history, but it's also a challenge, and a challenge that we all need to pick up and take as our own today. So Rabbi Kleinbaum, thank you for showing all of us, including this Methodist here, what it looks like to reclaim the language of faith for justice and truth. Faith is not partisan. Faith is not political in an electoral, political, American way. Of course, it cares about how we organize and live our lives in community. But those who try to hijack faith need to be reminded by this rabbi that they are the faithless, and they do not stand with those who care about the pursuit of truth and justice. So, I know this is a retirement celebration, and I do hope that Sharon has time to sit under her own vine and fig tree, and that she does get a well-earned rest, but that if we need her, she will answer the call. Thank you, my friend. Bless you.
That's why we love her. And thank you, Hillary, for joining us in the celebration. And I saw Suffs on Broadway, and it's amazing, and you should go. For the next presentation, I was told that I would need a little Yiddish. And that's what I have. A little Yiddish. Okay, we're going to try this. Don't freak out. Ready? Geh kacken Affen, ja. What does it mean? They wouldn't tell me. Not that you'd recognize it from what I said. But please welcome back to the stage the CBST music director, Joyce Rosenzweig, and cantor Sam Rosen.
Komm her, hingeln Hände zu mir und tu gucken die kleine Äußerlech. Teiere Äußerlech, gilderne Äußerlech. Gicher, komm her. Komm her, hingeln Hände zu mir und tu gucken die kleine Äußerlech. Teiere Äußerlech, gilderne Äußerlech. Gicher, komm her. Hab kein Meure nit, schreckt sich nit. Otazoi, setz sich weg und heraus mit Kopf. Setz sich, Otazoi, her sich zu. Komm jetzt Aleph O, komm jetzt Beis O. Komm jetzt Gimmel, go. קומץ דלת דו. פסח א' פסח בייס בא, פסח ג' גא, פסח ד' דא. Ota zoi hingele, ota zoi darf man lernen jingele, oi wei teir jingele. Tu a kuken sider und sog noch amol. Komm jetzt alef o, komm es beis bo, hecher, starker, o, bo. Ota zoi darf man lernen jingele, o, ba, ga. Hecher, starker. Und azoi darf man lernen Ingle. Ba, ga, da. Und azoi freilicher, lebendiger, gnarnig. Und azoi Ingle darf man lernen teure. Teure ist die beste Scheure. Das gewinnt hat ein Ingele, so's nicht seiner Gnarnig. Ei, bist du a Gnarnig Ingele. Genug schon, vermacht dem Sidder. Bist frei. Gedenk, mein Kind, Eid darf lernen teure, azoi sog du uns der heilige Beure. Als man dich fragen, was hast du getan in Cheder? Sollst du sagen, hast gelernt, teure, gedenk, teure, noch einmal teure, 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 teure.
That was outrageous. Thank you so much, Joyce and Sam. You're such a gift. Our next speaker has said, as we are buffeted daily by news of violence, cruelty, ignorance, and intolerance in our nation and around the world, I am grateful to be part of an institution where love of teaching and learning, love of the Torah, is at our core, and where we strive to make our study an act of sacred service to a world in need of healing and hope. Please welcome the president of Hebrew College and great friend of Rabbi Kleinbaum. Please welcome Rabbi Sharon Cohen-Hennitzfeld.
She just said, have fun. I was going to say I'm feeling a little chalant myself. 32 years ago, Sharon stood before the CBST community and said these words from the prophet Isaiah. Enlarge the site of your tent, extend the size of your dwelling, do not stint. Lengthen the ropes and drive the pegs firm. She asked you all to imagine what CBST could become, a place that would educate children to love being Jewish and to help build a world free of hate, a place that would be a training ground for rabbinical students from all the movements, a place that would become a vibrant center for music and creative arts. And she asked you all to do so while driving the pegs firm, anchoring the tent of CBST's beloved community in the sacred ground of chesed, visiting the sick, comforting the bereaved, burying the dead, observing Shabbat and Yom Tov, celebrating births and marriages, first as an act of civil disobedience and later as an act of exuberant civil obedience. Always, always insisting on joy as an expression of spiritual and political resistance. I have watched in wonder as Sharon has nurtured this community with the expansive breadth of her imagination and the exquisite depth of her attention and care. Her capacity to see the future that is possible and work tirelessly toward it is coupled with the capacity to see people precisely where they are and accompany them with love through whatever life brings. This is a rare and remarkable combination. It is awe-inspiring to stand here now and see how the seeds of imagination that Sharon planted then have blossomed into a lush and layered landscape of memories. To look around this room and know how many stories we could each tell of how Sharon's loving accompaniment has sustained us, strengthened us, and sweetened our journeys. To know that for every person in this room, there are countless others with their own stories to tell. If I had to choose one word that I associate with Sharon, it would be the word hope. Now, this is a tricky word because people mean such different things by it. When I text Sharon in the middle of the night, which I do not infrequently, to say I am in despair about the state of the world, she almost always writes back immediately, "Don't worry, it's going to get worse." I admit that I had to warm to this pastoral move. But this is the thing. For Sharon, hope does not mean everything is going to be okay. It certainly doesn't mean everything is okay. It starts from her clear-headed and profoundly intelligent assessment of what is, and a willingness to be there with you wherever you might be. But her sense of hope also flows from an awareness that history is very, very big, that things haven't always been the way they are now, and they will not always stay this way. This is as true for our own lives as it is for the world. Sharon understands that hope can't be rushed or facile or forced. but she is unyielding in her insistence that it is a sacred obligation. There's a beautiful essay by Reverend Victoria Safford entitled "The Small Work in the Great Work," which contains a passage about hope that I can't read without thinking of Sharon. She writes, "Our mission is to plant ourselves at the gates of hope, not the prudent gates of optimism, which are somewhat narrower, nor the stalwart, boring gates of common sense, nor the strident gates of self-righteousness, which creak on shrill and angry hinges. People cannot hear us there. They cannot pass through. Nor the cheerful, flimsy garden gate of everything is going to be all right, but a different, sometimes lonely place, the place of truth-telling about your own soul, first of all, and its condition, the place of resistance and defiance, the piece of ground from which you see the world both as it is and as it could be, the place from which you glimpse not only struggle, but joy in the struggle. And we stand there beckoning and calling, telling people what we are seeing, asking people what they see." Yesterday morning, I had the great privilege and joy of presenting Sharon with an honorary doctorate from Hebrew College. We wanted to honor her for her visionary leadership locally, nationally, and globally, for being rabbi not only to CBST, to this congregation, but to countless leaders across the country, in Israel, and around the world. And of course, for being rabbi to countless rabbis, including me. But most of all, I wanted our graduating students, standing at the threshold of their own rabbinic journeys, to hear her wisdom, honest, hard-earned, and insistently hopeful, beckoning and calling, telling them what she sees, and asking them what they see. Sharon, this is what you have been doing for as long as I've known you, the small work in the great work. Thank you for standing so steadfastly at the gates of hope. As you begin this next chapter, we are standing there with you, now and always.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Cohen-Ansfield. That was absolutely stunning and well deserved. Rabbi Sharon and Rabbi Sharon, do you have to have the name Sharon to be a rabbi? Okay. Now, here's a message from the highest-ranking Jewish official in America ever, and a bit of a badass, our very own Chuck Schumer.
Hi, everyone. It's Senator Chuck Schumer, and I want to take a moment to congratulate not only my good friend and not only a spiritual leader to so many, but an amazing individual, compassionate, smart, caring, energetic, Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum, on her retirement after 32 years at Congregation Beit Simchat Torah. Rabbi Kleinbaum has been the senior rabbi, as you know, at CBT at the height of the AIDS epidemic. She met the challenge head-on by bringing profound empathy to bear to guide her community through the massive loss and grieving of the years. And ever since then, for the last 3 decades, Rabbi Kleinbaum has been a spiritual leader, a champion for human rights, so respected and admired in New York, across America, and around the globe. So many of us seek her advice because she is so smart, so compassionate, so caring, and she always knows how to try to put put herself in someone else's shoes when they've come to her with an issue or a problem. CBST would not be the welcoming, thriving, and influential congregation that it is today without Sharon's tireless work to make it so. Under her leadership, CBST has cemented its place as a welcome place of worship and fellowship for LGBTQ Jews especially. It was a noble mission and not easy in those early days. Now, of course, it's grown and flourished, and the mission has expanded beyond New York City. Rabbi Kleinbaum goes above and beyond the call to serve religiously by making her rabbinate accessible, approachable, and deeply engaged in the everyday issues and problems of the world. And that's why in 2019, I was really proud to appoint Sharon to serve as the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. Personally, I am thankful for her sage wisdom, which I said has guided me during some of the most difficult moments in public service over the last 8 months, an immensely trying time for Jewish communities in our city and around the world. I have turned to Rabbi Kleinbaum for her guidance as we have stood together to combat anti-Semitism and work towards a more hopeful, more secure future for Israel, America, and the Middle East. And we work closely together as well to get the word out about the nonprofit security grant program to help our religious institutions from terrorist attacks and hate crimes. With her support, the support of many Jewish leaders across the spectrum, I've been able to more than quintuple the funding for this program in many years. So, we will miss Rabbi Kleinbaum's leadership, wisdom, and guidance, but we know her work is far from over. We love you, Rabbi, we miss you, but we know you'll go on to even better things.
I love that guy. Our next guest is a Grammy-nominated award-winning comic, Emmy-nominated writer, and a Sirius XM radio host. And he and his husband, James Wesley Jackson, recorded the star-studded What the World Needs Now is Love after the Pulse nightclub shooting to raise money for the Trevor Project. And when Broadway shut down, they raised $1.2 million for the Actors Fund with their incredible live stream, Stars in the House. Seth did the first of his many benefits for CBST in 1997, and he's thrilled to be back. Please welcome to the piano the one and only our Seth Rudetsky and the one and only Sally Wilfert.
Everyone, come on out, Sal's. Don't be shy. Just before we do our song, I just want to say I first got involved because I went to the High Holidays with CBST. And as most of, I think many Jews know, it's the one time a year when synagogues are like, you gotta pay. Because Jewish people are like, I have to go for Yom Kippur. So that's how synagogues make money. But CBST, I was there at Jacob Javits Center. It was filled to the brim. There was no money being raised. And by the way, it's a gay synagogue. And I was like, there are a lot of straight people here, and not just because the men were not interested in me, but I knew they were there because they were with their wives. And I was like, I cannot believe they're not charging money. So I was like, I have to do a benefit for them. So I started doing these yearly benefits where I would celebrate gay Jewish composers. And Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum was there for the very first one. And one of the gay Jewish composers I celebrated was William Finn. And that is how Sally Wilfert first became involved with CBST. We love Bill Finn.
Yes.
Because, by the way, Rabbi Kleinbaum specifically requested Ms. Wilfert. How did you get involved here?
I got involved here because of William Finn, and I sing for him and have done many of his shows, and because of him, I met Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum, and my life was changed forever.
Will people recognize you? I know. But how would they recognize you when they come to services?
I sing at the High Holy Days most every year for the Yisker services. Very welcome.
Speaking of Bill Finn, we're going to do a Bill Finn song. Hold on, let me find it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, are you ready, dear?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Goodness is rewarded. Hope is guaranteed. Laughter builds strong bonds.
things you've said, I often find I need. Indeed, I see the world through your eyes. What's black and white is colorized. The knowledge you most dearly prized, I'm eager to employ. You said that life has infinite joy. Your heart, your glee haunt me. Your words strike suddenly. They're obvious but wise. I see the world through your eyes, and possibilities expand. The one thing I don't understand is how you kept your poise when life has infinite joys. Life has infinite joys. Infinite joys. Your face, your voice, rejoice to have you back with me. It's such a fine surprise. I see the world through your eyes. I taste lemon on my lips. I marvel at the sailing ships of well-dressed girls and boys. And life has infinite joy, has infinite joys. Life has infinite joys.
Sally Wilford! Rabbi!
A lot of talent here, except for people who are late to the podium. But thank you, Seth, and thank you to Sally. Rabbi Cohn is the first woman to be a full-time dean at the Jewish Theological Seminary. She is the author of Changing Lives, Making History, Congregation Beit Simchat Torah, The First 40 Years. And she also co-edited the prayer book that's used at CBST. She was the junior rabbi at CBST for many years, and we loved her here. Please give a warm welcome to Rabbi Eilid Cohn.
So we all know that Sharon Kleinbaum is a person of many ideas, and she does not rest until she makes them happen. One of her more brilliant ideas, and between us, that is saying something, was creating the Cooperberg Rittmaster Rabbinical Internship with the support and partnership of Bill Fern. She dreamed of making CBST a training ground for rabbis to serve the LGBTQ Jewish community. And she and CBST in 1994 needed more rabbinic presence to support the many members and their loved ones affected by HIV and AIDS. And Bill Fern wanted to honor his dear friends, Irvin Cooperberg, Zichrono Livracha, and Lou Rittmaster. I was part of a generation of interns who came to CBST at a time of transition. It was the very end of the worst of the AIDS years, not long after Irving had died. Rabbi Kleinbaum and longtime members of CBST wanted to be sure to pass down the formative stories of what made CBST what it is, and to make sure that the presence of these essential people in its life were still there in its daily fabric and in its soul. So as interns, we were not only taught the craft of how to become a rabbi, we were tasked with becoming carriers of Jewish history, of the history of CBST. There is no question that becoming a Cooperberg Rittmaster rabbinical intern changed the course of my life, and I know that that is true for many of us. Rabbi Kleinbaum taught us how to be rabbis. In her, we had a mentor who wanted us to succeed. She wanted us to bring our whole selves and ask all of our questions. She was deeply invested in our development as rabbis and as human beings. She pushed us. She opened the doors to the rabbinate with a rare honesty and transparency. She was so generous with us, introducing us to the amazing people she knew and showing us how the world worked, how to be an activist firmly planted in Jewish community and Jewish tradition, how to develop our own rabbinic voice, to call for change in a way that is smart and grounded and strategic and brave. She reminded us to cultivate our own spiritual and prayer lives and our appetite and curiosity for Jewish learning. Rabbi Kleinbaum operates in the world with a tremendous amount of courage and at the same time, real vulnerability. To be able to see that from the inside, to learn from her, she let us see her do amazing things, and sometimes we saw her fail because she knew we would sometimes do that too. We got to learn it all from her, an incredible gift, a profound blessing. I carry Rabbi Kleinbaum's teachings and my experience at CBST every day. It taught me so much about who I wanted to be in the world. It did for all of us. How do we honor Jewish history and Jewish tradition? How do we prepare the next generation for whatever is to come? The things we can prepare for and those things we can't possibly prepare for. There are now 50 alumni of the internship program, graduates of 5 rabbinical schools across the spectrum of gender identity, sexual orientation, and Jewish denomination and affiliation. 50 of us who carry Irving Cooperberg's name and carry Rabbi Kleinbaum's teachings. We serve all over the US and the world, and we, along with the 7 cantors who served as interns at CBST, and all of the other rabbis and cantors who were trained by Rabbi Kleinbaum, we serve in synagogues, hillels, elder care, hospital and prison chaplaincy. We've authored books, we've composed music, we've helped advocate for LGBTQ civil rights legislation, and we serve in the leadership of 3 of the major non-Orthodox rabbinical schools. You did that. So I invite all of the Cooperberg Rittmaster Rabbinical Internship alumni who are here this evening to stand. And the current interns. and all of the other rabbis and cantors who trained under Rabbi Kleinbaum to stand as well. Sharon, you built this. You built our community, our amazing network of colleagues and friends and chavrutot who turn to each other and to you for guidance and support all the time, many years, even decades later, with love and depth and so much laughter. And now we'll hear from some of our alumni.
How would Rabbi Kleinbaum think about this? What are the needs that she would imagine people having? How would she go about discerning that? How would she want to show up for them? And in taking that into account and thinking about what it really means to be there for the communities that we are trying to support, that we are trying to show up for, that model of leadership, of care, of concern is one that I constantly come back to as a guiding model and question in thinking about how I can try to show up.
Just her attention to thinking through and debriefing interactions modeled for me the importance of rabbinic self-reflection, the importance of the understanding that our strength as rabbis comes with the capacity to reevaluate decisions we've made, to apologize when an apology is warranted, to try to correct course. And she also modeled for me a healthy relationship with financial stewardship and fundraising.
I learned to be a rabbi at CBST in the way in which she mentored us and gave us so much responsibility, but not in a hands-off way. I mean, she was always there for us. That taught me how to be a mentor for students whom I subsequently mentored. So worked you very hard, was incredibly fair, taught you a lot, gave you a huge amount of responsibility, but we also had an amazing laugh. I mean, hysterics sometimes. And of course, she didn't always behave, which is one of the things I liked.
Rabbi Kleinbaum's mentorship was fabulous. The continuing impact, I should say, of applying on JTS was that I was in a senior seminar where weekly we were reporting back and talking about our internship experiences. And so it was incredibly impactful that she was such a good mentor and that I was having such a positive and full experience, because that was not true for many of my peers necessarily. To be able to be sharing narratives and teachings from Rabbi Kleinbaum in the community with the professors at JTS is really a year-long experience for them.
One of the things that happened having not grown up, I'm a Jew by choice, and one of the things that happened as having not grown up in the Jewish world and choosing Judaism as an adult is that many of the first life cycles I did were the first ones I'd ever been to. So like my first Jewish funeral was the first Jewish funeral I'd ever attended, for example. And so it was really amazing that Rabbi Kleinbaum was like, great, come over, I'll show you what I do. She invited me to her home. She walked me through all of it. And it was a holy blessing to be able to officiate that first funeral and to know that my mentor was at my back and made that possible.
But mostly I carry some of the teachings that she offered during our year. I think a lot about her lesson that you should do the hard thing first. As someone who doesn't always want to do the hard thing first, much easier to do the easy thing first, it turns out. And she really pushed me on that idea of you have to do the hard thing first. And I still take that lesson all the time in my own work and try and face the difficult, challenging moments as opposed to letting them wait until later.
Thank you, RSK. I'm so proud and privileged to have been invited to be a part of the CBST story, a small part. It was so meaningful to me, and I'm just so proud and so grateful to call you my rabbi.
My blessing, my hope for you is that you know that the impact you have made, not just on Jews, not just on the LGBTQ community, not just on rabbis or congregants or even New Yorkers, that the impact you have made extends and ripples far and wide. And perhaps we will never know the end of its extent, which is the whole point, and that you get to feel that satisfaction and that knowledge of having lived a life that up to this moment has affected and changed and moved so many that matters, and know that we all have your back from here.
You have taught so much to so many of us, and for that we will always be grateful. If there's one lesson that each of us has learned from Rabbi Kleinbaum, each of us who has celebrated any significant moment with her, from the spiritual heights of Shabbat services to the communal and gastronomic pinnacle of the Kiddush line, it is this, and rest assured your legacy is secure: the Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum Shmir Rule. When taking a bagel at the Oneg, do not pause to spread the cream cheese while still in line. Take the shmir and put it on the plate, and shmir the bagel once you are seated.
Please welcome back to the stage Seth Rudetsky.
I totally agree about the schmear. I'm so glad that we have so much Broadway tonight. Rabbi Kleinbaum is a major fan of Broadway, and we're going to have, Broadway's a big fan of Jews, by the way. It's getting hard these days. That is why I founded PS, the Jewish Broadway Alliance. If you're interested, please contact me. We just began a couple months ago. I'm wearing my Bring Them Home Now chain. And I'm not really a fan of Disney, but someone got me this. It's Disney and menorahs. I thought it was appropriate. Anybody, get back to me. Anyway, the point is, we're doing a song from one of the most Jewish shows there is, The Amazing Fiddler on the Roof. Sheldon Harnick just passed away. He was 99, and I got to go to his memorial, and just amazing stories about him. His daughter said that he was extremely sick. Sheldon Harnick was a lyricist. He was extremely sick, and he was on the bed, and they were like, oh my God, maybe this is it. And he finally spoke a sentence, and they were like, oh my God. And then he spoke another sentence, and it rhymed. He literally, isn't that incredible, was still writing at 99. Anyway, I really wanted to do this song, and I just did it at this wonderful fundraiser for Broadway Cares Equity Fights Age with these two incredible stars who played these roles on Broadway. And as soon as I asked them to do this, they said yes right away. Please welcome Tony Award winner and two-time Tony Award winner, Danny Burstein and Andrea Martin. Hi, Danny.
Hey, pal.
What's it like playing Tevye on Broadway?
Exhausting. That's the truth. But it was the role of a lifetime. I had a blast. And you played Golda.
Not with you, I
Not
wish
with
I
me,
had.
but with
you
Harvey
were,
Fierstein,
You were wonderful,
yeah.
Danny Burstein, and Harvey was good too. But you...
Still got it. So this is the song, by the way, in Act 2, and it's a beautiful song about marriage. And Sheldon Harnick, I got to interview him on Sirius XM. He said that when he first heard it, he actually started crying. And people said, oh my God, is it because it reminds you of your parents? And he said, no, it reminds me of the relationship I wish my parents actually had.
Right.
It's such a beautiful song. Tell me, Dan, if you're okay going.
Yeah. He's a good man, Golda. I like him. He's a little crazy, but I like him. What's more important, Huddle likes him. Huddle loves him. So what can we do? It's a new world. A new world. Love. Goldie. Do you love me?
Do I what?
Do you love me?
Do I love you? With our daughters getting married and this trouble in the town, you're upset, you're worn out. Go inside, go lie down. Maybe it's indigestion.
Gold, I'm asking you a question. Do you love me?
You're a fool.
I know. But do you love me?
Do I love you? For 25 years I've washed your clothes, cooked your meals, cleaned your house, given you children, milked the cow. After 25 years, why talk about love right now?
Golda, the first time I met you was on our wedding day. I was scared.
I was shy.
I was nervous.
So was I.
But my father and my mother said we learned to love each other. And now I'm asking, Golda, do you love me?
I'm your wife.
I know. But do you love me?
Do I love him?
Well?
For 25 years I've lived with him, fought with him, starved with him. 25 years my bed is his. If that's not love, what is?
Then you love me.
I suppose I do.
And I suppose I love you too. It doesn't change a thing, but even so, after 25 years, it's nice to know.
Andrea Martin and Danny Burstein. Tevgen Golda.
Seth Rudetsky.
Rabbi Kleinbaum is an extraordinary human who is deeply gifted intellectually. She is spiritual, inspiring, funny, passionate. She turns the world on with her smile.
Suddenly make it all seem worthwhile. Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement you show, no need to waste it. You can have the time, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all. You're gonna make it after all.
Oh, how wonderful. So, Seth, you got another one?
Yes, I do. We have one more amazing singer coming to the stage. She played one of the only lesbian roles on Broadway because we're still working on that. And boy, was she amazing in that. Please welcome from the cast of Fun Home, the incredible Beth Malone. Look at that outfit. So in Fun Home, it's about the famous cartoonist, and there were 3 different ages. You were which house?
I was the old one.
Oh. But it was the same character. So you would you, I can't even remember, were you on stage the whole time watching the other houses?
Yeah, I never got to leave. And I watched, the song I'm going to do for you tonight was not my song. It was sung by an 11-year-old. And I watched it every night. And, it's an amazing song about identity, it's about naming something for yourself, and you have to see it to be it. And visibility and self-knowledge, and it's an amazing, beautiful song.
And just on a side note, speaking of social justice, Fun Home, the graphic novel, was banned at, what school was that at?
Oh my gosh.
Some southern school. So instead of just accepting it, tell everybody what the musical did.
We all went down to where was it? It was.
Name a southern state.
Yes, it was one of the southern states. And we, as a cast, went down and we did 2 performances of the entire show back to back for a warehouse packed with kids. And for them to see, look, this is, get out of the South.
Basically. But they banned the book, they couldn't ban the musical, and it is about visibility, and that's why having Rabbi Kleinbaum, seeing a woman be a rabbi, be Jewish, be lesbian, all that kind of stuff just inspires next generation. So thank you, Rabbi Kleinbaum, for your service. Do not retire, do something else amazing, starting tomorrow. Okay, are you ready, dear? How old is this character when she just sings it?
Let's say she's 50.
No, the character, not you, dear.
She's 10 or 11 years old, and a butch walks in the door, and she has never seen anything like the identity that this woman is carrying around. And she says she feels like she is recognizing someone from her home planet. Someone just came through the door like no one I ever saw before. I don't know where you came from. I wish I did. I feel so dumb. Your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys. You seem okay with being strong. I want you're so. It's probably conceited to say, but I think we're alike in a certain way. Your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys, your ring of keys. Do you feel my heart saying hi in this whole luncheonette? Why am I the only one who sees you're beautiful? No. I mean, handsome. Your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys, your ring of keys. I know you.
Beth Malone, Allison Bechtel.
It's the Seth and Beth show. But now it gives me great pleasure to bring to the stage Liebe Wenning-Rubenstein and Molly Wenning-Rubenstein. And they are both longtime members of CBST. What happened? And they're longtime daughters of Rabbi Kleinbaum. And I told them that it's a roast. Let's see what happens. Come on up.
We'll manage. When Sharon Ann Kleinbaum first walked through our front door in 1991 with her short hair and her dungarees and her high-top Converse All-Stars, I think we knew pretty immediately that she would change our lives forever. Just as her 32 years at CBST would change this community forever. Our Tanta approached parenting with the same vision, confidence, dedication, care, and willingness to disrupt the status quo as she approached being your rabbi. And she imparted on us many of the same lessons she did for you. She taught us to embrace all the ways that we are different with pride. I was 5 and Liba was 9 when she became this congregation's first rabbi. Women rabbis were still a novelty. Gay marriage was not yet legal, and LGBTQ families raising children were still few and far between. We went to our local public school in Brooklyn, where we were usually the only white kids in the classroom, definitely the only Jews, and for sure the only kids without gay parents. Our moms quickly became a palpable presence in our schools and our communities, helping us feel confident about both our blended unconventional family and about our Judaism. They also regularly took us to Orthodox services, and Tanta loved taking us to buy our bat mitzvah talesim at ultra-Orthodox shops in the Lower East Side, facing many very confused and often dirty looks. We learned and came to understand that no one else could define for us what it meant to be a family, a Jew, an American. We also learned to be comfortable as often the only children at CBST services. The adults indulged us as we raced around Bethune Street and fell asleep on the chairs in the back of the sanctuary. They also often shared with us their fears about becoming same-sex parents. Not many kids grew up saying so often some version of, "We're really okay." And your family can reach okay too. Tanta taught us, of course, that art is a spiritual practice. She encouraged us to pursue theater, art, and dance. Many CBST staff, interns, and community members were subjected to attending our high school musicals and other performances, not to mention our cameo appearances on the bima and stage as part of many of CBST's remarkable musical programs. You may think it's unusual for a synagogue to program chamber music. How about family camping trips programmed with cultural projects when each of us would spend our summer vacation studying a Beethoven symphony or a Shakespeare play in the middle of a national park? Tanta taught us never to let rules or societal expectations get in the way of pursuing what we believe in. She embodied the practices of civil disobedience that she taught us. You all know how much she loves getting arrested in political protest. But do you also know how much she loved taking us out of school? At the slightest opportunity, attendance standards be damned.
And even when we broke her rules and expectations, like, for example, moving all the way across the country and raising grandchildren 3,000 miles away from family, she dug deep to practice understanding and acceptance.
She taught us that the pursuit of justice requires exercising the muscle of hope. Most rabbis' kids don't spend their childhoods attending funerals and celebrations of life, remembering young men claimed by a plague and abandoned by the systems that should protect and care for them. Most rabbis' kids in the 90s didn't experience riding on their shul's float in the Gay Pride March and being expelled from the Israel Day Parade in the same year. But also, most rabbis' kids don't get to witness their community celebrate its first legal marriages, its first baby namings, and bar mitzvahs. And not every rabbi's kid got to see their parent stand strong during this past most terrible year and continue to fight for peace and a shared future for Israelis and Palestinians.
Tanta taught us the importance of showing up, especially for family. She somehow always seemed able to bend the laws of physics, despite the all-consuming, boundaryless nature of the job of being a pulpit rabbi. And no matter how much time we would spend at CBST, somehow it always felt like she was available to us in our lives outside of the synagogue. Whether it was helping to cater food for dozens of students over the weekend while we built sets for our high school musical, or homeschooling me when I was out of school for a month with pneumonia, or in perhaps her most questionable act of showing up, making an appearance at every prom we attended.
Sometimes with Cooperberg Rittmaster rabbinical interns in tow. In fact, she embarrassed us constantly, singing loud and off key, doing interpretive dance in public places, and never missing an opportunity to call us to stand with her in front of this congregation as she did it. In the process, she taught us that even with so much to care about and fight for, it's important not to take ourselves too seriously. It's important to acknowledge the things we're not great at, and to remain humble and approachable, even in positions of leadership, and to make time to experience joy with the people we love.
Our childhood was not always easy, but we would not trade being raised by this fierce, soulful woman and this fierce, soulful community for anything. It's been unbelievably meaningful for me to bring my kids here in recent years. Not enough, I know. As excited as I am that she will get to spend even more time with them in this next chapter, I also deeply hope that they will always feel that they have a spiritual home here at CBST too. We are so proud of Tanta for co-creating this radically joyous beacon of light, meaning, and justice that CBST is and has become together with all of you. We will always be grateful to you and to her for making us a part of it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Riva and Molly. Thank you for being here. Of course you are. Do you like soprano arias? I love this show. It was so amazing, and I watched the whole, I binge watched it right through COVID. It really saved my life. Oh, sorry. Well, get ready for a little something from Puccini, as if. This is from the opera Tosca, When Floria Thinks of Her Fate. Please welcome our very own Joyce Rosenweig back on the piano with Tony Marie Palmertree from the Met singing Visi d'Arte. And Sharon, this isn't a sing-along. Joyce, and thank you, Tony. That was amazing. And I've always wanted to say this. Now, a special message from the White House.
Hello, Rabbi Kleinbaum. I want to congratulate you on your retirement. Over the course of 32 years, you've been on the front lines of human nature's most profound and powerful truth: dignity, equality, and love. As a rabbi, you've shepherded countless people toward a spiritual life anchored in faith and humility. And you've been a beacon of hope to so many people, known and unknown, and a source of strength and vision for your congregation, for the LGBTQ community, and for the Jewish people all around the world, especially in this difficult time of surging anti-Semitism. I also want to thank you, Sharon, for your tremendous leadership of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, and for your incredible interfaith work. Jewish liturgy says, "Those who serve the needs of the community faithfully, may God grant them their reward." Together, you and Randy embody those words during a lifetime of faithful service to your communities and to your nation. And Jill and I treasure the friendship of both of you. May God bless you both.
Last November, former Secretary of State and CIA Director Mike Pompeo, excuse me, described our next guest as the most dangerous person in the world. Oh, please, Mary. In fighting for freedom, democracy, and a fair economy is dangerous, then yes, she is. If working on safe public schools and what kids want and need, then yes, watch out. Yes, she is the dangerous, and we are the blessed and highly favored to have her. As a former high school English teacher, 8 years. It was great training for comedy. Middle school, oi. I don't think I've ever used oi. Like taking it in. As a former high school English teacher, it gives me great pride to welcome to the stage Randy Weingarten.
I don't know, I didn't get Kate's funny gene. So I first knew Sharon from afar. I'm not doing the Rabbi Kleinbaum thing tonight. I was a closeted public figure in a city that only pretended to be accepting of LGBTQ people, we didn't use the plus then, who were ascending to leadership roles. And much has been said already about Sharon's role in New York at the time. For me, it was life-changing. She defied every norm, but it was more than that. She was and is brave and brilliant, wise and witty, passionate, persistent, and pugnacious. She was not just a spiritual leader in this city, but a civic and cultural leader who paved the way for others like me to live our authentic lives, to lead, to confront hard issues, to reject the binary, and to have a shitload of fun while we were doing it. Seeing Sharon up close, being married to her, I can say no secrets tonight, by the way, I can say that the private Sharon is the public Sharon, except so much more. I have marveled at her soul and righteousness. It's been said a lot tonight. She's a teacher. She's a builder. She's a compassionate consoler during life's hardest moments. She's a practical guide to our sacred texts and a stirring preacher who reminds us that God still speaks to us today. Sharon is a fierce advocate, a fierce activist, and an organizer. And Sharon, you said this yesterday. She doesn't just decry injustice, she crafts ways to confront and overcome it and bring people together. And she's done this with the same caring and passion and persistence and pugnaciousness that I witnessed decades ago. Sharon lives fully as a Jew, a rabbi, a mom, a bubby, a tanta, a lesbian, an advocate for the marginalized, and a champion of democracy, humanity, and human rights. Yes, she demands a lot from all of us, and I mean all of us. But it's because she shows us what is right and what is possible. From leading Shabbos services and shivas, to protests and psalm classes, to doting on the young people in our lives, Sharon is always present. And even in these really fraught times, she shows us how to be present, how to be alive, how to journey for justice. She's showing us how to find the light and shine it for others. And obviously, as a point of personal privilege, Sharon is my fiercest ally and my most trusted counselor, and the most reliable dog walker, treat giver, and toy buyer any puppy would want. Just ask Gracie. And while, as she says, it can and will get worse, our days are often full of laughter and love and hope. So, speaking as a spouse, I'm grateful to all of you for honoring Sharon tonight. I'm so grateful to the majesty that you've seen on this stage. I'm so grateful for you showing her the gratitude she teaches us. And we are really honored at the launch of this social justice fund to assist CBST and its new senior rabbi. Sharon loves CBST. We both do. And she honors the work you have all done together to create this remarkable spiritual home of joy and resistance. So tonight, as the sun set, I guess we're close to the 9 o'clock range now. It's a reminder, this room, of the sunsets of our Yom Kippurs at Javits. Let's turn to a video introduction of my wife and your rabbi.
Are we connected?
We're good.
Tonight we celebrate Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum, the steadfast leader of Congregation Beit Simchat Torah for 32 years. Our guide and guardian, our shepherd and mentor, Rabbi Kleinbaum built a shining legacy, a commitment to Jewish life, a reverence for history, and an insatiable love of Jewish text, language, liturgy, ritual, and community. All of us, CBST members, family and friends, politicians, artists, activists, and community leaders, say thank you, Rabbi Kleinbaum, for your unparalleled contributions to our community, our nation, and our world. You are a beacon of light in times of darkness, a voice of courage in moments of uncertainty, and a guiding force for all who seek justice and compassion. From your beginnings at an Orthodox school in New Jersey to graduating cum laude from Barnard College in New York to attending Hebrew University in Jerusalem and the Oxford Center for Hebrew and Jewish Studies in the United Kingdom, RSK's wisdom wasn't limited to what she learned in classrooms. She protested South African apartheid and nuclear proliferation. She went to jail for attempting to wrap the Pentagon in yarn along with hundreds of other women. She helped to transform the function of American liberal Judaism in political advocacy and the education of young people when she was ordained as a rabbi from the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College in 1990. Amidst the tragedy of the AIDS epidemic, Rabbi Kleinbaum's arrival at CBST in 1992 marked a pivotal moment for the congregation, requiring both pastoral care and spiritual guidance in the face of deep pain and loss. CBST's first rabbi and first full-time employee, Rabbi Kleinbaum's tenure manifested the power of Judaism to link social justice and advocacy to spirituality. RSK fearlessly spoke out for the rights of marginalized communities, including the LGBTQ+ community, immigrants, Palestinians and Israelis, women, and people of color. Progress for LGBTQ+ rights in all Jewish movements, from the progressive to the Orthodox, were led by her charge. Her prophet-like commitment to the widow and orphan garnered widespread recognition, earning her a place among the most influential rabbis in the country and esteemed commissions and advisory roles, including the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom. Beyond activism, it was Rabbi Kleinbaum's vision that CBST become a vibrant center of culture and music. Her collaboration with an extraordinary team of artists and clergy members brought renewed vitality to our prayer life, infusing it with rich, eclectic Jewish music, both traditional and innovative. Again and again, we heard Rabbi Kleinbaum say, "Joy is an act of political and spiritual resistance." Rabbi, you have given our group of lesbian, gay, trans, bisexual, queer, Jewish New Yorkers permission to feel happiness. Through both the good times and the difficult, you taught us when to dance, you reminded us when to sing, and encouraged us when it was time to celebrate. You taught us, Tov lehodot, it is good to give thanks. For all these things and more, we thank you, Rabbi Kleinbaum. As you embark on a new chapter, may your fiery spirit, wild sense of humor, and compassionate soul continue to inspire and uplift us for generations to come.
So in March of 1992, when the synagogue's annual meeting approved the hiring of me as the first rabbi at CBST, the New York Times that day had an article in the paper announcing that the synagogue was voting to have its first rabbi, and a picture of me appeared in the article, and underneath it said, "Lesbian Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum will be the first rabbi at CBST." That was the first time I was identified in the New York Times as a lesbian rabbi. And I was a little nervous, about what my mother and father would think. And my siblings are here, my nieces and nephews, and my whole family is here. And my mother, Josephine, was, of course, a very steadfast member of the synagogue. But at that time, she wasn't so excited about the particular choice I was making. And I very nervously called her up because I knew she was going to see, and I wanted to jump right in. And I said, Mom, did you see the article? And I was waiting for her to say something about the fact that the caption said lesbian rabbi. And what did she say? She said, Sharon, your hair looked terrible. What a terrible picture. That was horrible. You look terrible. Yes, Josephine. It's overwhelming to be here and to listen to these deep and profound words of tribute and of honoring me, because I know, first of all, that the most important thing is that everything that we've accomplished these 32 years, we've done together. I know that the best things that have been accomplished under my leadership has been because I've done it with so many of you, that there's been such deep collaborations and so many great ideas, and there's been a generativity and an excitement about the possibilities. And I have to say that most of the CBST boards that I have dealt with over these 32 years did a very unusual thing, which is when I came up with another one of my cockamamie crazy ideas, mostly the presidents and the boards said, yes, how do we do it? And that I give such enormous credit. I want to ask anybody who has served on a board in these 32 years, including the current board, to please stand and to offer gratitude to everybody who has served on the board of directors of CBST all these years. A huge thank you to Sabrina Farber, who is our current president of our board of directors. Being on a board of a synagogue has been compared to being on a co-op board in a New York City co-op. It's a painful experience, but one thing we have tried to do is to develop a community of lay leaders who would step forward and understand the profound need that we have as a community. I want to ask everybody who's ever served on the staff of CBST to stand. Who here is from the current staff and previous staffs? Please stand. A huge thank you to everyone who has ever served CBST in a staff role. That's an enormous responsibility and not always appreciated day to day. So I want to share these honors with everybody who has served in the past or serves now. And the staff that put this event together, incredible. Where is Barbara Gaines? Can we have Barbara Gaines on the stage? Barbara Gaines. I'm pulling a David Letterman here. Where's Barbara Gaines? Come on. Come on, Barbara. I want a huge, huge thanks to all of the performers, to Joyce Rosenzweig, to Cantor Rosen, to Rabbi Werber, to Rabbi James, to all of the performers, Seth Rudetsky, and all of the performers who performed this evening. I love chamber music. I love Broadway. I love Vici d'Arte. I love opera. So thank you to all of the performers and to everyone who is on the stage, and to the committee that really did the programming for this, which was Barbara Gaines, Adria Benjamin, Joyce Rosenzweig, Cantor Sam Rosen, Seth Rudetsky, to the co-chairs of the event, Lisa Kartzman and Eric Rosenbaum. Would you stand, please? Would you both stand? I love you both so much. To Jeffrey Seller, where are you, Jeffrey? Jeffrey Seller, thank you so much. You made so much of this happen in all of your magic. To Bill Fern. Bill, would you please stand so the congregation can thank you? I'm delighted and thrilled that Rabbi Jason Klein, CBST's next senior rabbi, my successor, is here tonight. Rabbi Klein, would you stand? I look forward to working with you to make this transition a good one and to doing everything to support the future of CBST. I'm thrilled, really thrilled, that so much of my family is here, and I'd like to ask my whole family to stand. My family is here from Minnesota, from California, New Jersey, New York, Illinois, no, not Illinois, California. Love everybody. And of course, to thank my wife, Randy, who spoke so beautifully. And it's not easy being the spouse of a rabbi, but honestly, it's not easy being the spouse of a union leader either. So let's just say it's a little bit of a debate who has it harder. But I'm very, very grateful for all of your love, Randy, and for all of your support for all of these years. And into the future we go. There are very brief things I want to offer tonight. There are some principles that I have embodied and tried to carry forward in everything that we do here. And let me say this again. What we've accomplished here has been done together. I'm being honored tonight, but really, 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 it's only because I'm retiring. We're really honoring everybody here. We just don't want all of you to leave or go anywhere. So, principle number 1, more than numbers. The metric by which a synagogue should be judged is not how many people are at a given service, a given class, a given program. The metric that should be used is how much each person who comes in contact with that synagogue community is personally, profoundly, and deeply transformed. That is the only metric that should matter. And it has been my goal that every human being that is in contact with CBST, whether it's one time coming to a Javits Center Yom Kippur service, or one time to a class, or a regular, is personally, spiritually transformed by being a piece of CBST. Let me hear from you. Has anybody here been transformed by being connected to CBST? That is the measure, that is the metric, that is the definition of what we as a community should always strive for. Second thing, how do we consistently and constantly deepen our anticipation and yearning for Shabbat? How do we create a consciousness that Shabbat as Olam Haba, as a taste of the world to come, is available to us every single week? No matter what our Jewish observance, we understand that the best way to defeat anti-Semitism in the world today is to be more Jewish. That is the most effective way to transform the hate in the world to the vision of what we want, what we imagine, what we dream for. The third thing is that there are 3 things that students of religious communities analyze as the reasons people join a religious community. The first, and most people settle for 1. The first is the community of people who are there, the community of people you get to schmooze with at Kiddush, the community of people you hang out with. The second is the prayer life, the music, the language of spiritual ascendancy. The community's prayer life, music. And the third is the intellectual life of the community. Are the drashot and the classes challenging people to go beyond where we are intellectually, to learn new things and to understand the mind and the heart must always be evolving and developing and live in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Most scholars of religion say you're lucky if you get one of those. If you're really, really, really lucky, you get 2. But my goal for CBST is that we all get 3, all 3. A community we love, a prayer and music life that transforms our spiritual innards, and an intellectual life that doesn't talk down to us, but in fact encourages us to see Judaism as a source of profound intellectual curiosity and inquiry. So I want to read something tonight briefly. I know it's late and I'm so really choked up. 32 years ago, I started at CBST, never having imagined I would be a congregational rabbi. I didn't go to rabbinical school to become a congregational rabbi, and it's a kind of a fluke that I ended up here. But I want to read from the essay I wrote to go to rabbinical school. I wrote this essay in 1984. I'm going to read only an excerpt. I travel a lot, and of course it's typewritten with whiteout, for those of you who might remember what that was like. I travel a lot in search of Yiddish books. It's not that difficult, really. I usually have long lists of people who are extremely anxious for me to take the books. It's an unusual and fortunate position I'm in. Here I am at age 25, and I spend most of my time with older Jews, most of whom were born in another time and in another place. And I have learned so much from them. I have learned much about myself as an English-speaking North American Jew from these Yiddish-speaking Eastern European Jews. Each home, each apartment, each tenement, each condo, each nursing home I go to, I sit and talk. Because as the assistant director of the National Yiddish Book Center, one of my jobs is to collect the Yiddish books from the generation who read them and who is dying. Each time, they cry as they pass the books on to us, to Aaron Lansky and to myself. For them, being part of Am HaSefer is not an abstract literary metaphor. It is their identity. They are worried and frightened and alarmed that they will die without having taken care of their books. And they know that these books are immortal. And the books they call their oitzris, treasures. And when they hand them one by one with kisses to me, they tell me I am receiving their Yerusha, their inheritance, their legacy to the world. And these are the words they use. And I ask myself, what is my generation collecting as oitzris? What Yerusha will be ours? Will we be able to pass on? These old people are passionate about their dreams. I live in an age where cynicism and materialism are not only acceptable, but worshipped. Why does my generation, comfortable and young, feel cynical, and that generation, older and threatened and having lived through so much suffering, dream and so full of those dreams? When I started working at the National Yiddish Book Center, it was a group of young progressive Jews trying to create a positive Jewish identity and culture. And now, as I finish these 32 years at CBST, fully half of my life, I know what part of my Yerusha is. I know what my oitzris, my treasures are. My treasures are all of the Cooperberg Ripmaster rabbinical interns who schlepped from so far away to be here tonight. My oitzris are each of you who have sat in a Psalms class with me, or sat in a service that I've led, or argued with me about how long a particular setting is for a particular piece of music. My oitzris are being in the funerals of people who couldn't be buried by their own rabbis because their own rabbis denied that they were even gay, forget the fact that they died from AIDS. And we as a community would do a second funeral to make sure their wholeness and their completeness as human beings was treated with respect by a rabbi and a Jewish community in front of the God that I know loved them. My oitzris are all of you who work so hard on the board of directors against great odds to try and make it all come together. My oitzris, my Yerusha, is this, all of you. A CBST kid came up to me 2 years ago and said to me, "Rabbi, I finally realized who you remind me of." And I said, "Oh yeah?" I thought, maybe something grand, Emma Goldman maybe. And he said, "You remind me of the Harry Potter in the first Harry Potter movie, the 12-year-old. I said thank you. You are my oitris. You are my Yerusha. And I pray to God to be worthy enough to be yours. Thank you very much.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור we protect this chain. From generation to generation. לדור ודור these lips shall praise your
Back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור we protect this chain. Generation to generation. לדור ודור these lips shall praise your name. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. Dor vador nagid god lecha. The dor vador we protect this chain from generation to generation. The dor vador these lips shall praise your name. The dor vador nagid god lecha. The dor vador we protect this chain from generation to generation. The dor vador these lips shall praise your name. The dor vador nagid god lecha. The dor vador we protect this chain from generation